The genetic engineers at GemRice carefully fixed and improved on the DNA of the average rice plant. But you may be wondering, what is there to fix? Well, first off, current rice plants can be very tough to grow and can easily die in hot or dry weather. Second, caterpillars and other insects have been eating and killing the plants. And last but not least, the plants are very picky and can be pretty hard to keep alive. This can affect how much rice can be harvested, how easy it can be harvested, and how much profit is collected when selling it. All of these things are called selection pressures. A selection pressure is something in an organism's environment that causes it to struggle or die off. These can be things like other organisms that live in the environment, or even the climate of the environment. The last time that we tried to improve on rice, we used selective breeding, and it didn't work. So this time we used GMO. GMO, or genetically modified organisms, are made by carefully editing the DNA of an organism. The genetic engineers first go in and find the part of the DNA that holds the unwanted trait. They then cut out the trait they want from another organism. They remove the bad trait and insert the newer trait. GMO can be used in all types of organisms. For example, let's say that there's a very small apple tree that grows very little amounts of small apples. Then, through GMO, we can create a much bigger version of that same apple tree. The newer tree can make a lot more bigger apples. This results in a lot more profit. We have carefully selected traits to make rice XXXV the best rice on the market. You may be thinking, if selective breeding didn't work the first time we tried it, how is GMO going to work any better? Well, selective breeding can take over generations to get the correct outcome, but GMO is almost immediate. There's also a much higher chance of success when you're using GMO. With selective breeding, it can be hard to create the exact traits you need, but GMO allows you to easily pick and choose for the perfect organism. Now look at the difference between normal rice and rice XXXV. Rice XXXV looks like it could be the same as normal rice, but really, our rice is caterpillar resistant, unlike normal rice that gets completely chewed up. Rice XXXV is also drought resistant, so when normal rice starts to wilt, rice XXXV stands tall. Not to mention that on average, normal rice makes about 1 ton of grain per square mile, whereas our rice makes 7 tons per square mile. This results in a lot more profit. Many people think GMO plants are bad or scary. They think that they're going to mess up the food chain. Or they could make people sick. When really, GMO plants are one of the greatest inventions of all time. GMO plants have allowed us to stop using bad things like insecticides or pesticides on our plants. They've allowed us to make a lot more crop in a lot less time, and to be able to make more profit from our crop. If for some reason you're worried that our rice is not going to do well in your environment, we recommend trying out a balanced field. Balanced fields can be good depending on where you live and how predictable your weather is. For example, let's say this year you plant 2 types of rice, one that's resistant to drought and one that's resistant to flood. And this year you got a lot of rain. That means that the rice that's resistant to drought isn't going to do very well. But the flood-resistant rice is going to grow much better. Now imagine if you had only planted the drought-resistant rice. We have carefully put together rice XXXV to fit your needs as a local farmer. If you want to buy this rice, visit www.rice/xxxv.org.